one last small adjustment before we get going here. Of course, changing the title of the Twitch stream versus XiGua. Alright, so sorry about the awkward start, but we are ready to go. It's worth noting, guys, if you want to watch the My Insanity versus Yoey Flash Wolves matches, you can catch those on both Take TV and Keldor stream. We'll be casting this one. So, playing for Fnatic to start the day off, spawning here in the top right corner of the map, it is the Red Protoss player Pink.
And in the bottom left of Waystation, we have our blue Zerg player playing for Invictus Gaming. It is XiGua.
That's a mighty fast probe coming across the map with a potential forge behind him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one thing here is that, I mean, it's a 9 scout, so, I mean, XiGua, you know, when you see a 9 scout, you know, you're going to be thinking as a Zerg player for fast expand, so I'd imagine XiGua is just going to throw down the 15 pull here, so, I mean, it's going to be fine anyway. You know, it's when you see the probe scout go out a lot later, that's when you know, want to look out for a counter rush, but showing the probe this early, he's kind of showing his cards right away, so.
Right, but at the exact same time, you kind of, you know, you're not going to be dealt with too early. You get nice scouting, you know, it's not gas before pool or hatch first or anything quite so silly.
Yeah. So it's just the build choice of Pink. Some people do prefer the just completely normal, kind of Wings of Liberty-esque opener, Forge Fast Expand. We do see it every now and then with that 9 scout. He should be going for the Nexus first, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Especially on 17. You've been forged much earlier than this, if it's anything else.
Yeah.
Well, Waystation in these map spawns should prove to have an interesting game. I like it's so weird to consider. You know, you look at the map and you think square, right? You know, StarCraft 2, square dimensions, but that's not really the case because one way is much longer than the other.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's interesting spawning locations. These one. I mean, what's immediately, you know, going on in my head when I see these positions, when I see a Forge Fast expand out of Pink, I'm starting to think maybe, you know, sell out Stalker Pressure into like a fast third, like, I don't know, something like that, because the third base of the Zerg player is so far away from the natural, and, you know, it's going to be hard to get creep all the way over there. So as a Protoss player, you know, if you put on sell out Stalker Pressure, you can kind of spread the Zerg really thin, because it's hard for you to pull the Queens to defend that, like, from your natural to your third. So we might see something like that to abuse the distance to the third base. And Cern is coming in now, and this cannon is not even close to being finished, but he does wall that off.
Yeah, it's never fun to have to throw in that full wall, but at the same time, it's way better than letting Lings compromise through your base.
I guess it's the price you pay for that quicker gateway, because I'm pretty sure that was probably like Nexus first into gateway into cannon, so maybe that's why the cannon was a bit later.
That is such a weird cannon, by the way, because that only really covers versus Lings. It's not going to have range to hit roaches that attack the Cyber Core. It's not going to have range to hit anything else. That's a bit of an odd cannon.
It's, yeah, that's a bit strange. And he's got the forge right next to the pylon as well, so maybe that's why it ended up being a bit awkward.
Yeah, I guess because it would have been a full wall off otherwise. And what are you going to do, put down 3 pylons in your wall? Like, no.
Yeah, some of these new maps have like an unusual amount of like squares to work with, so you've got to like put
the
your
grids are all
like
slightly
diagonally
longer.
sometimes. Like when I'm in a CVC and I'm, you know, opening gaslets or something, and, you know, there's speedlings coming on the map, and I'm like, oh, how do I wall this? It's like throwing down buildings. It can be tricky on some maps.
Well, I mean, as a Zerg player wall sometimes. I think for Terran they've got it the worst. We've been seeing a lot of players like Ryung like do double engineering bay walls because it's kind of necessary. It's we see a lot more third CCs also coming down the wall. I know I'm referencing Terran, and there's no Terran in this game, but you make a good point, though. It doesn't know what the race is. It's a bit awkward. I think this is a pretty standard choke, though. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, it might be. Maybe it's his Pink's choice of how to wall it that ended up looking a bit awkward.
He actually doesn't see the star. I thought he had the Overlord much closer, but it's behind the mineral line. So he actually doesn't see the Stargate coming in right now. But a Stargate's not something that you necessarily have to scout.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, if it's an Oracle, it's nice to scout it, but if it's just going to be Phoenix, yeah, it doesn't really matter. But looks like he might actually bump into it now, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so he sees it, confirms it, and of course, if you do the whole zoom-in trick, you can see what's being built out of it. It's that awesome outline. But Econo boosts nothing because he's supply blocked a little bit. That's awkward.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, yeah. but he did not go for the subtle stalker pressure that I thought he might. He did go straight into that Stargate and quick gases after that, so it shouldn't be like a quick 4-gate follow-up since he made those simulators nice and early, so it should just be like a robo defensive play.
Well, it's actually interesting you bring that up because a lot of times in PvZ we're seeing a lot more pressure applied to thirds nowadays. Like, I think once upon a time, if you were doing any amount of gateways towards a second or third base, it was an all-in and it was good luck, have fun. But now we're seeing a lot more like 2 base 4 gates, 1 base 3 gates, plus 1 weapon timings, whatever, that have become rather effective at taking away thirds from a Zerg player. And Pink's been playing somewhat passive here, which makes me a little bit worried for him, because XiGua is not a player you want to let macro like crazy. The first time I saw this guy, by the way, guys, was the HOTS beta tournament. He played versus Beastie Cutie. Now, granted, that's the first time I saw him, and it was a CVT, but I've had a pretty close eye on him and Maxed, and of course Jim ever since then, and XiGua is a pretty damn good macro player.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of him. I've seen a little bit, but...
Actually, just thinking on it, I have yet to see any of the Chinese guys, like, really cheese. Like, Maxed and Jim aren't notorious for cannon rushes. You don't ever see XiGua do, like, a 6 pool. It's just a weird thing to consider. More honorable in China, I guess.
Yeah, maybe so. Do you see that third base for me? I was starting to think, when I saw, the extra gases go down, I was like, is he gonna go robo and, like, make a war prism and take the island base or something? But no, he just went for a 1-gate third base at, in this open area, so he just didn't care about how distant the base is. And I guess he did scout that XiGua didn't, go fast gas or anything, so I guess he didn't have to worry about speed lane pressure or anything like that. So he just took that base and just didn't really care about how open it is.
Yeah, but that's an interesting point, though, to talk about the island bases for a moment. If you've got Phoenix control, the one thing that really scares you from taking that third is you don't want Mutalisks to come by and swamp your lings, or your probes, rather. But if you've opened Phoenixes for your Colossus anyways, this actually makes it a little bit more safe, in fact, to take this, because if the Mutalisks do come, 2 or 3 cannons, 5 Phoenix, you're basically going to be safe and sound. But it kind of frustrates me too, because I've been kind of half joking, half serious about this in a lot of competitive play. I don't see really anybody taking those island bases, and I can't help but scream and kick and moan, especially for the Terrans who could just lift off a command center. They don't have to go build Ventral Sacks, a Nidus Worm, or Warp Prism or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we really don't see anyone taking those island bases, and I think it's just something that's being really overlooked, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be the amount of attention you need to do. You need to load over SCVs with Ulysses of Phoenix, load over SCVs with a Medivac, and it just takes so much longer to set the base up and mine efficiently. But I mean, it is very safe on the other hand. So yeah, a bit underused indeed. But I have seen a few.
Buddy, do me a favor. When you play next time you're on Waystation, in all chat, just write, "This is for Rifkin," and take an island base, win or lose, so I can love you forever.
Well, that's my third.
It doesn't have to be a third necessarily, but just take it at some point.
Alright, okay, I'll do that.
Did you see, by the way, the Nidus Worm condensed game I made? It was a 1 hour game I condensed into 3 minutes.
What? I think I missed that, actually.
Okay, so there's swarm hosts and stuff, but the guy Nidus Wormed to both of the island bases, and for over an hour, it was never scouted. But the problem was, he never saturated either of the bases.
What, not at all?
He put 4 drones, I think, on each. Some for gas.
Alright. I'll have to check that out. That does sound quite funny.
Alright, well, Phoenix is still getting a little bit of work done. I kind of wish he would replace the ones that have gone down, though. I mean, oftentimes you don't see a reinvestment in Phoenix because they're not super effective by any means. But, I mean, if you've got 5 of them, you're going to be able to lift up the Hydralisks and fight. Whether it's just crowd controlling 5 Hydralisks outright or doing a lot of damage because Phoenixes will one-volley them down. But right now, Pink needs to react. This base needs a Photon Overcharge, some Time Warps or something, because this is going to get nasty. That's a lot of legs. It's a lot of Hydralisks.
XiGua has to be careful, though, because these are... looks like slow Hydra, so if he gets force field out here,
there is no muscular augments. That's what I'm talking about. Nice blink forward.
Oh, it does catch those lings there.
But that's gonna mean he can't chase the Hydras anymore. So that kind of actually works out a little bit here for XiGua.
And XiGua behind this has the Spire going and a 4th base that's not mining gas yet, so he might be thinking towards maybe he makes a lot of lings in his army, like we have seen so far, more links, way more links than Hydra, so he might be thinking towards a Muta switch later, but he does turn on the infestation pit. But I mean, Pink did lose a couple of Phoenix, and 3 Phoenix isn't really that intimidating if you make a Muta switch, so that could be something that XiGua would be aiming for, but turning on the infestation pit, we'll have to see.
Well, pretty good force fields actually. That time warp is just magnificent. Look at the Hydralisk, like molasses trying to get out of it. Still no Hydro speed, no muscular augments out of XiGua, relying on 40 more links to speed across the map, and quite frankly, even with those great force fields, he's managed to brute force through a majority of Pink's army.
Yeah, I was getting a bit scared. It didn't look like there was that many Hydras, but reinforcements did come in for XiGua, so he did trade okay, but I kind of feel like that offensive blink in for Pink was a bit too overambitious. Like, he lost like every Stalker there because he couldn't blink micro after blinking offensively, so maybe he should have been a bit more careful there, but I mean, it worked out okay in the end. He has the Colossus now as well.
I like the one Hydras he left alive. You tell everybody what you saw here today. You tell them all.
Yeah. There's gonna be 8 more Hydras on the way now, but
so
XiGua, like, he's got a lot of gas right now.
Right, and here's the thing I really don't like. Like, Ling Hydra is a good composition. In fact, it's fantastic versus a lot of Protoss compositions, but you require speed for it to work. You require creep spread. I mean, those Hydralisks without muscular augments, still, by the way, no muscular augments, are going to rely 100% on creep spread to actually get any mobility around, and the creep is far from being close enough to Pink's base to effectively engage that army.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he must have, like, forgot to research it, because, I mean, he's taken so many engagements off creep that, you know, if he had that upgrade, that would be a lot easier for him.
I mean, to explain the difference for a lot of people too, like, creep, like, I mean, movement speed on Hydras, it's not like it gives them any sort of attack speed bonus, but it lets them dodge the time warps easier, get around the force fields faster, close in sooner to your opponent, but now he's just got a hell of a lot of Lings and Corruptors. I mean, these will certainly deal with the Colossus, but there's going to be storms behind this in a moment's time, and, well, that's not going to be much easier.
Like, 2 storms on this army, and what's left? 4 roaches?
Well, I mean,
like, the Lings and Hydras are gonna die right away. Oh
right,
my
look
God.
how fast they die! Lings only have 30 health, Storms hit for 80! You do the math, guys, it's pretty ridiculous. You get a volley for the Colossus behind it, Blink Stalkers are gonna take out all of the Corruptors, but the Colossus did fall. Oh, these Immortals are on the wrong side of these Stalkers, though. He's gotta take care of enough of the Roaches. I kind of wish that storm had gone on the Hydras instead of the Roaches. I mean, he's got the Immortals still for the Roaches, but he can continue chasing him. Quite frankly, if he's not careful, there's a reinforcement wave coming.
I'm kind of thinking, I mean, what's XiGua? I mean, he does have an okay amount of gas, but he's not mining gas at his 4th base, and he's still on lair tech, and he's got some air upgrades, I think, but, you know, if Pink's army, if we see Storm, Stalker, Immortal, Archon, like, what does XiGua have to, you know, deal with that? He's still just pumping Roaches and Hydras, and he's hoping to get a good engagement. But if Pink is just careful here and gets more high Templars for more Storm, I don't see an answer here for XiGua to deal with that yet. And Pink now mining on the 4th base as well, so I kind of feel like XiGua is in a bit of trouble right now.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing too is those upgrades. Being level 3 weapons for a Protoss player, scary thing to come up against, especially when it's a lot of Archons, Zealots, and Stalkers. Weirdly enough, I think Colossus kind of benefit, I'd say almost the least in this composition from weapon upgrades. Not because there's not so few of them, but because it's a lot of the Roaches they're going to have to punch through. Then, you know, the Immortals are going to tear through those in like 2-3 shots.
Yeah, and I like actually splitting up his army here.
Yeah, I like this double attack. This is the sort of move he needs.
But
a recall. Oh, that's such a cool move out of Pink.
Yeah.
So he's actually going to hold the base while pushing him back on the right side of the map with these Stalkers. Pink, man, extra, just... That was a really slick move.
Yeah, that was nice, and he traded well on both sides, it looked like, and well, I mean, XiGua now he's getting +2 fire, or air attack. I don't know what he's going to do now.
Well, I mean, at the same time, you got to consider, like, had Pink overextended with one army, had he taken too many with a recall type thing, like, he could have lost both sides of this fight. I can't stress how good that split was. I hate Protoss, guys, so you know when Rifkin's complimenting Protoss is good.
That's nice crisis management there by Pink, and he's just pushing through now. He's maxed. XiGua is on 130 supply, and he's trying to engage base trade, I think. He's got Mutas on the way.
It's kind of his only option, though. I mean, realistically, he can't engage this army. He's got no fungal growth to lock down the Stalkers. He doesn't have any sort of swarm ups to provide counter pressure, although swarms would be terrible in this situation because of the Blink Stalkers.
Yeah. Yeah, he's throwing out of options, and he's trying to find an option here with this base trade, but he doesn't have like enough units to make this base trade work. Like these 2 cannons, Zealots and Photon Overcharge, just killing all of the Lings on its own, and I don't imagine the Mutas able to do anything either, so...
Okay, so before we get out of this, because I know someone's gonna flip their shit about it, just joking about hating Protoss, guys. It's a fun thing to say.